You know, I don't know enough about the lore of a Sphinx, but if anyone's going to read The Room, I feel like it's a Sphinx.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and we are back again with another spoiler review for Season 2, Episode 2 of The Legend of Vox Machina. This is entitled The Trials of Vasselheim. This episode really kind of sets the tone and sets our heroes on their journey for what I assume to be all of Season 2. This is a spoiler review as well, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, make sure you at least give me a like before you go check out the episode, and then come back and watch my review on the episode if you would. Also, if you're wondering where episode 1's review is, that should already be on the channel right now, so feel free to go check that out. And then come back and watch episode 2. And if this is your first time, hi, my name's Will, and I do geeky stuff on the internet. And I am a critter who has never watched Campaign 1, so all of my viewpoints of the characters of Vox Machina are really coming from this series. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, or if you're interested in just a whole list of geeky things like reviews and reactions and discussions, some gaming, some drinking, and you want to hear it from a geeky bear like myself, subscribe to the channel. Trying to get to 650 subscribers this year. I gave myself a good enough goal. Let's see if I can hit it. And I can't do it without you, so help brother out. But let's talk about the Trials of Vasselheim. It's actually a really good episode. So with episode 2 entitled The Trials of Vasselheim, Vox Machina, after narrowly escaping the destruction of Amon by the Chroma Conclave, make their way from Whitestone to the Dawn city of Vasselheim, which is the oldest city in Exandria, to try to seek aid from any of these temples and the armies and the people of Vasselheim as to what's going on with the world, how it's being affected by the Chroma Conclave, and just to try to get some help in general. It's a tall order to ask for our group of assholes, but they're going to make it work as best as possible. One thing I did notice about Vasselheim was definitely how it is very much a religious town. Like even Scanlan pointed out that there's no brothels and stuff like that. So it is very much a holy city, and it is considered the oldest city, or it is the oldest city in Exandria. So if they're going to find anything that can deal with a group of ancient dragons, it's probably going to be here. In terms of allies, they have to reach out to the Dawn Marshals. They're kind of the ones who run the city, and they do reach out to them, and even though they see what's going on, they are not willing to help. They basically turn them away, which kind of sucks because it's a very isolationist city. So it is that idea of like, well, if it's not on our doorstep, we don't give a shit, which is kind of a crappy way of looking at it, but it fits with the vibe that this city is really kind of showing off. It is touted as a defender city, so that's what they're basically trying to do. Hi. Sorry, there's a cat down here. Dude, I'm recording. I can't throw your ball right now. Can I finish? Hold on, one sec.
1 hour later.
Even though the Dawn Marshals don't want to help them out, there is one person in this group that is willing to give them at least a little nudge in the right direction. It's a little gnome that's kind of keeping tabs on them briefly after they left the meeting, and sends them off to the Slayer's Take, which is a group of hunters, and their patron is the person that they should see in order to try to get some help. Unfortunately, we get a little bit of backstory from Vexalia that her and Baxeldan have had a few run-ins with the Slayer's Take, and do not give enough information before they get there, which unfortunately leads to a little bit of a confrontation between Vox Machina and the leaders, I would say, of the Slayer's Take, Zara and Keshaw, I believe that's their names, who definitely have an axe to grind with Vexalia, at least. But it's only 6 of them because Grog kind of gets sidetracked, and he starts hearing a little bit of voices coming from the sword that he has. If you remember, the sword is that blood-sucking sword that used to be in the property of Silas Briarwood, and that's Grog's new weapon because his axe got destroyed by, I want to say Raishan destroyed his axe. It's not doing too good for him, and we'll get a little bit more context of that in episode 3. But he gets kind of separated and ends up meeting with a representative or a disciple of the Storm Lord, who's another deity that is represented in the city of Vasselheim by Earthbreaker Grun. Man, these names. I suck at names, but these names are going to be the death of me. They get into a little bit of a confrontation. Not really aggressive confrontation. Well, it's aggressive because he beats the shit out of Grog. But really, it's one of the various trials that Vox Machina goes through while they're in Vasselheim. He's pushing Grog to try to figure out where his true strength lies. And even Grog ends up admitting that he doesn't know where it is after he takes a hell of a beating from this very powerful grandpa. I mean, dude's powerful. As for the rest of Vox Machina, as they're getting ready to throw down with Kashaw and Zara, the patron of the Slayer's Take decides to meet with Vox Machina, and they are immediately dropped down a hole to meet the patron, who goes by the name of Osessa. And again, if I'm butchering the name, I'm sorry. But they are a sphinx. And to the surprise of Keyleth, who thought all the sphinx were dead, she is definitely there to test the resolve of Vox Machina by separating each of them and basically laying out all their problems, except for Scanlan, because she says nobody cares about him, and so that includes her. It's meant to be played off as a joke, I think, initially, but when you really look at how she kind of reads each of them, their major fault, it's kind of a big fault. When you really think about some of the stuff that Scanlan has done, yeah, a lot of people don't pay him a lot of attention unless he's doing something outlandish. I get a feeling that that's going to come back in a big way probably later in the season, as all of these different takes of and these different issues that these characters in Vox Machina have. Whereas when we look at what we got with season 1 was very much an introduction, which would make sense why they kind of picked one person to focus on and really flesh out that character story while giving us teases of everybody else's. And it also is meant to be an introduction for new fans of these characters throughout that first season. So season 2, they have a greater opportunity to really get into the nitty-gritty of the psyches of these heroes and to really see what makes them tick. I don't remember every single thing that Osessa says. I really hope I'm pronouncing that name right. If I'm not, just put the pronunciation in the comments, would you? I'd appreciate it. It really is one of those moments that it's a trial. It is to see if these protectors of the realm are really up for the task of defeating 4 ancient dragons that threaten the entire world. It's not about breaking these characters down or making them feel like shit, but she even put it to him like, how do you expect to defeat dragons if you're afraid of the dark? I love how Pike is the one that really steps up and rallies the entire team to be like, no, we're not going anywhere until someone listens. And this Osessa even pointed out that, are you willing to die for this? And she says that everyone is. I don't know if everyone is willing to die, but, she says it, and that's where we get that sort of acceptance from Osessa, where she explains what they're going to need in order to defeat the dragons. And this is where we get the introduction of the Vestiges of Divergent, which are weapons that were of great power bestowed to mortals by the gods, and they were used during an event known as the Calamity, which was kind of like the end of days. So kind of similar to what's happening now, but 100 times worse than that. But the Vestiges are way too powerful, so they were eventually scattered across Exandria, and their job now is to locate these Vestiges in order to use their power to defeat the dragons. The first vestige that she mainly focuses on is called the Death Walker's Ward, which is the vestige of the Matron of Ravens, or the Goddess of Death. which is very close to where they are in Vasselheim, so that is where their first journey is going to take them. I do know a little bit about the Vestiges as I've watched Campaign 2 and Campaign 3, as well as some information that I knew going into the series from Campaign 1. The Vestiges are eventually bestowed, I believe, to each member of Vox Machina. They each get their own vestige of Divergent. So these Vestiges are very powerful, and it makes sense that we're going to kind of focus on that as the major MacGuffin for these next, I'm assuming this season and next season. It's kind of based off of some of the promotional art and some of the images from the trailer. It looks like we're going to get to a point by the end of the season where they probably have 2 or maybe 3 vestiges, and then they're able to maybe defeat a dragon or 2, and then we'll get to season 3 where that's where the rest of the conflict is going to be resolved in. It just seems like this is way too big to tell in just 12 episodes. And I think they know this, and I think that's kind of the idea. We'll just have to see how that pans out. This episode is really interesting because it really does put each character into their own sort of trial and to their own sort of mission, and it gives us a starting point of where these characters are really going to kind of focus their own journeys are and their own developments as characters and as heroes and members of Vox Machina. The first season was about a bunch of assholes just surviving and just trying to do what's right. And this season is kind of the same thing. This first vestige has a major impact when it comes to the character of Vax'ildan in general and his relationship with his sister. So that's going to definitely be a discussion for the next review. But overall, I really loved episode 2. I really like how it sets up the overarching story for the rest of the season, where episode 1 was really just to kind of get us back into it, but did not give us a chance to breathe. Episode 2 gave them a chance to breathe, gave them a chance to understand the gravity of the situation and what they needed to do and how they needed to step up in order to resolve the situation, in order to be the heroes that the realm needs. And I really like how this episode panned out. I really like how Pike is sort of kind of taking the charge this season on really rallying the team to do what needs to be done, even if they're terrified and scared. I like that we're seeing some growth with Grog, but also we know what his goal, his issue is going to be this season with the influence of that black saber and how that's going to affect his personality going forward. I like that each of them are going to really have to be tried and tested beyond their limits in order to gain these vestiges, in order to save the people and save the realm. So episode 2, really dope. I'm really excited for the rest of the season. That is going to be it for this episode review of The Trials of Vasselheim, episode 2 of season 2 of The Legend of Vox Machina. Let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for checking out this and all my videos. I really do appreciate it. Make sure that you check out episode 1 spoiler review. That is on the channel right now. I will be posting episode 3 spoiler review, The Sunken Tomb. That should be posting pretty soon, so make sure you check that out. If you're new here and you really enjoyed this review and you really like what I had to say, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And if you had a correction or if you have a pronunciation to help me pronounce Osessa or Zara, or if I know it's Cash or Kashaw, but he goes by Cash, feel free to toss those in the comments as well. So you can check out some other videos on the channel, if you would please. You can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. As always, until next time, I will catch you later. I was going to say something else, but it slipped my mind, so I'll catch you later. See you on the next one. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.